So I don't know, Josh, if you want to set the stage for
Yeah,
this.
so
Okay.
um yeah, actually I'd like Mail to let us know what's going on because based on our last conversation, I was actually misunderstanding the project's request originally. So I'd like some more context here.
Yeah.
Maybe, go ahead, Don.
I was just gonna say, do you want to share your screen? It looks like you've got some slides.
Yeah, I prepared something just because I can't really uh not really good at
Okay, do I need to
I need this, yeah. I'll share my screen and open this and start this. Okay, so uh Cert Manager has we have applied for graduation I think a month or 2 months
Mhm.
ago. Katie has picked up is being our sponsor from the TOC, and she asked us to do a review of our governance document with contributor strategy. That's the original reason I went to your channel and asked
Mhm.
questions, and the reason I went to you at KubeCon also, Josh.
Mhm.
Um, so I'll give a bit of context. Uh, what we did with the governance for Cert Manager, because we already have a few documents. The problems, the problem. So blockers to become a maintainer. That's the one of the big areas of focus for the reason we have a governance. The reason we have a governance file and strategy or a governance charter is to make sure people know how to become a maintainer. I'll talk about a bit about what we did in that area. Our plans to recruit outside of Venafi. Venafi is the company where half of the maintainers come from, and it's a big concern, at least for
Mhm.
me and for some other people. Uh, and then a sort of a threat for the Submeasure project. So our plans, and finally, what we talked about together, Josh, how to give power to steering committee members.
Yeah. Yeah. And let me just say one of the things I was off with because we had this discussion at KubeCon was I had the impression from what you asked me that you didn't really have non-Venafi maintainers who were active, right? And that
Yeah,
was
that's.
why you were doing the whole steering committee thing, right? Because other projects have used steering committees as an on-ramp to maintainership. But since
I'll
then,
jump
you've
to
said that,
this one then.
yeah, okay, go for it. Yeah.
So we currently have 9 maintainers, just to set the stage. 5
Uh-huh.
are Venafi, 4 are ex-Venafi employees. So all of them are Venafi people or ex-Venafi. Uh, some of some of the ex-Venafi people, like James, are deeply involved or still somewhat involved, although they moved to Apple and other companies. But it's still people that come from Venafi. Uh,
Yeah.
and the leadership is completely Venafi. Like
Hmm.
it's most of the maintainer time comes from us. Uh, and we have one person finally with all the effort with the governance charter and encouraging outside contributions. We have one person lined up to become a maintainer. That's Eric, but he doesn't. Like we talked about him becoming a maintainer this morning, and he would have to do it on his own time. He doesn't like the idea. His company is really involved. Is a big user of SubMeasure, has big stakes. But yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard to get maintainers outside of Venafi.
Hmm.
So we can start with this maybe. Uh, I I don't know what to do to have more maintainers come. What we have done up to now is have this governance file. and I'll jump back to this slide. The governance file is good in a way because it shows people that there is a way to progress in the organization and get to be a decision maker. Before September 2023, we didn't have anything. So you would go to the Submeasure project, you wouldn't know anything. You would know how to create PRs for sure, because that's in the contribution page on the website, but you wouldn't know how to become something more. Like if you wanted to review PRs or become a maintainer, you wouldn't know. We created the governance file. That's great. What the great thing is, it's easy to get people engaged. What I think is great about what we did is we have this GitHub member level that is really simple to get to. You just have to show some contribution, for example, responding to issues, or just a minimal effort needed on the person, so they can become a GitHub member. And we've had 8 people access this level. It doesn't give any privileges, any sort of power, but we thought it was a good entry point. But then we only got 4. So we got 4 new reviewers. That's the second level we have. 1 new approver, 1 new maintainer, and 1 new admin. But all of these 3 last levels, approver, maintainer, and admin, have been reached by an employee, by a Venafi employee. Great to see lots of GitHub members, but not many maintainers. But what I thought, so this problem I talked about with Eric, who might become a maintainer, but he is really he's worried. Like, he feels like becoming a maintainer is a responsibility that you have. You have to dedicate time, and that would be only on his personal time. He would be a great fit, but it does. Yeah, that's the only person we could have as a maintainer outside of Venafi would be this person, but it's not there yet. And maybe one blocker, one thing that would prevent people from trying is this ladder. That ladder is really long. Like, you have all these levels that you have to go through. You have to go to GitHub member. You have then to request to become a reviewer, then approver, then maintainer. And I think that's everything. Oh, maybe one last thing about the steering committee charter. I copied the Linkerd charter because I didn't know better. And I invited 3 people. One of them is Eric, this person who might become a maintainer. And I think because he wants to be a maintainer, he will have power. And that's, I think, we talked about power. We talked about the fact that we need to show some effort into trying to, but then the 2 other members aren't like they're just one-shot contributors, like heavy users,
Right.
and heavily invested in Submeasure, but not as much. And I can't find anything that they could expand on and gain ownership and power in the project.
Yeah. Well, so let's back this up, because one of the things that comes up now when you've actually briefed us on the whole maintainer situation is, should you actually have a steering committee at all?
That's a good question. Yeah.
Because like, they did the whole steering committee in Linkerd because they didn't even have any maintainer candidates from outside of their company, right? And so the steering committee was meant to supply a different kind of on-ramp to maintainership than the standard contributor ladder. But that's something that you do if the contributor ladder isn't working. If you follow me? And it actually
Yeah.
sounds like the contributor ladder is working. It just hasn't had very much time. The so you know, one of the other reasons why people have steering committees is that the TOC is concerned with two things in terms of having the maintainers have all one employer, right? Number one, it means that even small changes in policy by that employer can result in tremendous changes to the support of the project. And if there hasn't been any kind of a working on-ramp to maintainership, then there's no way to replace people who have been pulled off. And if you look at the new graduating checklist, it emphasizes much more whether or not the project has demonstrated an on-ramp to maintainership than exactly who's employed by whom, if you follow me. Because that's kind of the critical part, right? Because if the project has a track record of promoting new maintainers, then any existing problem with maintainership can be solved. Whereas if the project has never promoted a new maintainer before, it's almost impossible to get started after a destaffing. And the other reason for having a steering committee is the other concern of the TOC, right? Which is that when you have a project that is materially entirely supported by one company, it's very hard for that company to keep their product plans and the roadmap for the project separate, right? The two tend to get merged together, no matter how much the company doesn't intend for them to get merged together, right? And so the other thing that projects have done with the steering committee is that sort of roadmap review, right? Is to have a sort of independent body that doesn't work for that committee that is going to give feedback on the roadmap that the project is required to take action on in order to keep the project roadmap and the roadmap for any products based on the project separate. And I don't know that that second one even applies to you, because even though Cert Manager is primarily Venafi people now, wasn't originally Venafi, was it?
Oh, JetStack was the company
Yeah.
that initially created it, but JetStack was acquired by Venafi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So,
yeah, I mean, I would leave that up to you as like the judgment of, is that something that you would need out of a steering committee? And if so, is that people that you could potentially recruit? Because that's the nice thing, right? Is because if you're just looking at roadmap, then you can recruit out of your pool of users. They don't have to be, code contributors or something. Because the users care about the roadmap, and that's the concern, right? Is that the CNCF own open source project has to be usable. So that would be kind of up to you as to whether or not that's a valuable thing to have in the project.
So actually, Ashley, my colleague, has created this. So we already have the steering committee ready, and the first meeting will take place next week. And we actually, the meeting just before this one was the dev biweekly meeting for the Cert Measure project. And we talked about specifically this, reworking our roadmap through the steering committee meeting next week. So maybe we can start, at least we have it scheduled and the chart is ready and everything. So let's just use that and see, and at least use the steering committee as a way to work on the roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
have because the roadmap hasn't been worked on a lot lately. And Katie has been clear that we need to figure this out.
Okay. Yeah, and like some of the other people, is you can even sort of appeal out in the community and that sort of thing, and potentially find, because we have within the Kubernetes ecosystem, we have a few project managers who are interested in contributing upstream. And sometimes those people are available to, because that's a perfect role for them, right? It's like, hey, we want the steering committee to be in charge of roadmap review. But then the people who join the steering committee don't necessarily know how to do a roadmap review.
Do you mean
because it has,
some people are available as project manager, as project managers? But
yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know
I
any of
can't
them.
speak. Well, yeah, I can't speak for them individually. I just know that we have people in the ecosystem whose job is PM, and they spend a little of their time helping open source projects, right? They would have to be interested in Cert Manager in particular, but we can throw that out there and say, hey, we could really use help from one of these people, even on a very temporary basis, to get this steering committee roadmap review up and running. Um, the um, um, the and actually, I think, in fact, our tag might be able to help with this a little. I'm not going to speak for him because he's not in the meeting, but this is something that Rian is very good at, and he might be able to help.
Okay, I don't know who it is.
Yeah, yeah. And it really, and then if you're going to actually follow up on the whole steering committee thing, right? This is now the steering committee has something important to do, which means they're more likely to stick around and they're more likely to increase their involvement with the project.
So that would, in your mind, that would use the power thing, giving power. Is that
Yeah.
actual power?
Yes.
Is
If they can actually make edits to items on the roadmap, right? I mean, collaboratively, because you don't want them adding things to the roadmap that are impossible to implement or really dumb ideas. Um, but if they have the ability to collaborate on the roadmap for the project and make changes, then that is power and responsibility, right? Because the other thing you want is you want them to have responsibility. Um, the Because that's what makes them contributors to the project, right? Is that they are responsible for something. Um, the and Yeah, and if you're looking at where you are as a project and sort of what you potentially need, it sounds like it would be appropriate.
yeah, that sounds great. And it means I don't need to dig into what trying to make them do things that like
Mhm.
this is a thing that they probably want anyways.
Yeah.
Like, I can feel they are deeply uh, they really care about the features that will come next, and
Yeah.
yeah, they care about the project and they would like. I know Eric just said in the meeting before. Eric was there and he said he would love to be part of this. So let's do that. The steering committee next week will be about road mapping. Maybe I can share how it went and I can ask. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And obviously, we will need to make it clear that the roadmap is owned, or yeah, owned by them. Uh,
Well, it
don't
needs
make
to be
it.
collaborative with the maintainers, right? Because, if some of your steering committee are people who are not code contributors, etc.
But
Um,
you said the steering committee should have or should be working with or have a
yeah,
maintainer
right.
part of it, right?
Yeah.
Well, we don't have one
You
yet,
you
but
can
it
compose
should.
it however you want, right? It can be two separate bodies that collaborate together. A couple of the maintainers could be on the steering committee, however you want to arrange it, right? It's just that you need to have both the user from your community saying, hey, we want this on the roadmap, and the maintainer saying, yeah, but that's going to require a complete refactor of the code. Um, I the Because otherwise then the roadmap becomes detached from reality, which doesn't help anybody.
And also, I learned about this vendor neutral roadmap thing, which I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll learn. I'll read the document because I haven't yet. but we will do that, and I'm hopeful that it will serve a purpose. Like,
Yeah.
because we're usually the roadmap, like having a roadmap is something we're constantly asked, but we
Yeah.
don't really follow it.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't follow it.
Have you seen Rian's article on using GitHub cards, GitHub project boards?
No. Uh,
I just dropped it in the chat, the link to that. I happen to have
oh,
it up.
that's exactly what I was talking about. That's what I said I would read. I haven't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect.
Because you want the roadmap to be a working document that actually helps you get things done. Otherwise, it's just one more thing to maintain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and currently it is definitely something that isn't really working.
Yeah.
And
And
most importantly, like we went through it and it made no sense to us at least. Like it was just ideas, crazy ideas that we had that couldn't ever be worked on ever because
Mhm.
it's always too far-fetched and always crazy
yeah,
things like Go V2 or uh,
yeah,
I'll read the documents.
yeah, and actually, those are important things to have in your roadmap too. Things where you have been proposed and you said we're not doing this because X, right? It's actually useful to have that card because 6 months from now somebody will make the same request, and you can just point
Yeah,
them at that
that's
thing, right?
it's also something that we need to triage in
Yeah,
our
yeah,
current roadmap. Like some of the items are we
yeah,
we discussed that these items should be removed or moved to a section that says
hmm
we
yeah,
won't be doing this because this.
yeah.
Yeah,
And the other good thing about that is, as Rian documents in that article, the roadmap then also becomes a tool for recruitment and advancement because you will end up with lots of cards that are tagged help wanted.
yeah,
And if people have something clear to work on that they know is approved, um, it gets them onboarded a lot faster.
yeah. Oh, starting with the roadmap, didn't
Yeah,
think about that.
yeah. The
Uh,
particularly for these people that you're trying to advance up the ladder, right? Because they can look at it and they say, "Oh, hey, I could take responsibility for that." And then if they've done a major feature, all of a sudden it's like, well, probably are eligible for maintain. Um,
I, I really wish every person who had contributed a large feature would stick around.
mhm.
But they always go away.
Yeah.
Tim, Adam, do you have something in mind? Do you want to share something?
Thank you, Mal, for explaining everything. Yeah, I think maybe one thing to add is I do agree. I think that this roadmap has to be a bit of a collaboration because you also want to make sure that the things that you set on your roadmap actually will be done. So it has to be like also the engineering time that has to be put in, and of course we have to agree on what direction we want to go. But also I think it can help us to like make decisions on certain PRs that are created, for example, by first-time contributors, where it's like new feature and it's like, okay, well, that aligns with the roadmap, or like, okay, that's very different from the direction that we are going. So I think it has like two different purposes in my vision. Like one is where do we want to invest in, and like where do we want to go as maintainers, as like what do we want to develop, but then also like what do we want to add to the project and keep maintaining and so on. But yeah, it's definitely, I think it will definitely be valuable to have a better solution around that and to be more
Yeah.
clear about that.
Okay. And this is, and it's also, and it's something that also looks that you want for your graduating your graduation application, right? The
Yeah, it is one of
um,
the requirements.
yeah, and but we put it there because this is a conversation we end up having with a bunch of projects.
Yeah. Is there anything else?
Yeah.
I presented the slides. We talked about the power, giving power to steering committee. We said that road mapping road mapping is a good way of giving power. We said that uh, so we already have at least one maintainer outside of Venafi that is on the path to become a maintainer. So
Yeah.
that means it is possible to become a maintainer.
Yeah. I'm in terms of contributions, I'm also seeing a bunch of people who work for JetStack.
Oh, but JetStack is Venafi. It's the same.
Oh, it's the same? Okay.
Acquired. Yeah,
Got
Venafi
it.
acquired
Okay.
JetStack.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. The okay, so part of the employer problem is a merger. Got it. The yeah. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff that we can do that's a lot longer term. Like for example, reaching out to people at companies that we know are dependent on Cert Manager, which is frankly most of the companies in the CNCF. So actually looking at doing some promotion through the CNCF that the project is actively recruiting contributors. We did that with etcd, and it was actually very helpful. And bringing it to the attention of the TOC, right? Because one of the other things is, because of for the etcd campaign, the TOC prioritized etcd getting ContribFest at KubeCon, etc.
We never participated to that.
Yeah,
for some
it's a
reason.
good thing, and because you're looking for higher level contributors, you can do the same thing that we did with etcd, which is to have a ContribFest that was less focused on being a beginner orientation and more focused on actually creating a PR. The and and that sort of thing you do, right? Because I mean, the nice thing is you have a project that lots of people use, that people have generally good feelings about, right? And I think actually, if you're facing any barrier, it's that it works so well out of the box that people don't really think about needing to fix it.
Yeah. Well, there are so many people using it that
Mm-hmm.
they always find that there
Yeah.
are a lot of people end up contributing,
Yeah.
but not many sticking around.
Yeah. But yeah, and then the other thing is to obviously sort of comb through who's making PRs, etc., and looking for anybody who's been coming back. Um,
Okay. Sorry, so I'm gonna cut this off a little bit
Okay,
because we're
cool.
halfway through the meeting, and I think you have what you need, right? From
Yep.
the, okay, perfect. Because we do need to actually talk about the project board as much as that's not as fun as this discussion is.
Thank you, Don and Josh. That was really helpful.
Yeah, thanks for coming, and thanks for walking us through some of the issues, because like Josh said, this isn't exactly what we thought was going on, so this was super helpful. Okay, awesome. Thanks everybody.
Thanks a lot.
So for the project board review, I've just filtered by anything with the words governance review because I think that those are the things that we tend to be pretty far behind on. I know Ali volunteered to do Tecton, but we also have Telepresence and Istio, which are on the backlog. Cloud Events, did that one get finished? Josh?
No, I need to update it and actually merge it.
Okay,
They made a bunch of changes based on the initial draft feedback because there was just a lot of stuff about missing paperwork.
yeah,
And reportedly, they filled in a lot of the paperwork, and I just have not had time to go through the whole tree. This is why starting with the self-reporting, which we're doing starting with OpenTel, is going to be so helpful
okay.
because um, it cuts down on us doing these cycles. Um, the yeah.
Okay. So the ones that we have, so Knative is blocked until they sort out the how many committees do we need. So I'm just gonna leave that one for now. I can pick that one up after they've actually made those changes to the governance. I think that's still, last time I looked at the issue, that was still work in progress. So I'm gonna move Pixie, which is also in our new governance template, and Tecton.
Mhm.
Um, I think Istio,
Yeah, there's no deadline on Istio. I brought it up just because I know that they have a lot of legacy in the
yeah,
governance. Um, I and at some point I will get to it.
okay. Well, you said you couldn't do Istio.
No, Knative I can't do.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you said that you couldn't do Istio.
No, I said that after I write it up, I'm going to want you to go over it.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, okay.
so, yep,
Okay. So then
um,
I'm just gonna assign you to that one. Cool.
yep. Um,
Um, and I've assigned myself to telepresence ages ago, and I need to just sit down and look at that.
mhm,
Um, so let's move these. Whoops, sorry. Let's move these over to assigned.
mhm.
Istio.
Yeah. Is somebody already assigned to Pixie?
No,
Okay.
they assigned all of us.
Okay. If
I'm inclined to leave.
nobody,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry,
but
what
who
were
was
you gonna
speaking?
say? Sorry, I thought you said something.
No, I thought someone else said something.
Oh, okay. I think
Oh,
we
but
kind of talked.
we only have the two of us and Sandeep on here. So,
Okay.
yep.
Um, yeah, so these two came in kind of close to each other.
Yeah. I would really, um, if possible, Ali has an interest in reviewing Tecton.
Okay.
Um, that said, if we're going to do that, then I would like you to co-review with him because half the contributors to Tecton work for Red Hat,
Okay.
and so we always want to have some impartiality there.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, I'm happy to do a review on it.
Um, the I
I
mean,
can go ahead and make that.
I would like to do Pixie because I like the project.
Okay.
Um, but I will not be able to get to it until after the Kubernetes 10th anniversary thing at the earliest.
Yeah, fair enough.
So maybe I can actually just put that down. Are we holding up their graduating?
I don't know what the status is. Let's see. Application for moving from sandbox to incubation.
Okay. Okay, well, the incubation review is lighter, right? Because they just have to be working on governance. They don't have to
Yeah,
necessarily meet the requirements. And
yeah.
apparently they started out as a BDFL project and they're trying to move off. So this will actually get involved because they will probably need to revise their governance. But um, the okay,
Well, no, it looks like they have a new governance model with a governing board.
yeah, yep. The but it's a hard adjustment to make, right? If you're used to if you're used to one person making all the final decisions, then moving away
Yeah.
from that is hard to actually do.
Yeah, for sure. Do you want me to just assign you to that one?
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll put a comment on it saying,
Okay.
mhm.
I'm gonna move that over to assigned. Um, the governance review template, is that done?
It's the first draft of it is done. And now we have two projects that have used it. So one of our tasks is to look at what we got from Tecton and Pixie and see whether or not we need to make any adjustments.
Okay.
The so um
Okay. And I think Knative used it too, so I think we have at least 3 that have used the new template.
okay. Yeah, and so that'll give us a good idea of what adjustments we need to make, right? I mean, but the problem is the next step is one of us needs to take that, do the review based on what the project submitted and see what we're not asking for projects that we really need to ask.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
So I will just leave that for now. Okay, so I think those are the governance
yeah,
review request process.
yeah. And then the other big thing is going to be we need to recruit more people who are interested in doing governance reviews
Yes, we do, for sure.
because this is going to be very bottlenecked if it's just the three of us.
Yeah.
Particularly because Bill has gotten busy with other things and I don't think he's available anymore.
Okay. Do we want to create an issue for that? For recruiting more
Yeah,
people to do
sure.
governance reviews?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, why don't you go ahead and create that issue?
Okay.
Okay, so now I'm just gonna go back to the rest of the board and get rid of the, okay. So in the blocked details and assistance documents around meeting the CNCF requirements for graduation levels, is that still blocked now that we have the moving levels?
No, I think we can actually close it. Oh, wait. So we had one was to make criteria, but the other one is to provide advice.
Yeah, this is detail and assistance documents around meeting the requirements.
Yeah, so no. So we haven't even Ollie has done some writing on that, but it's not complete. None of the rest of us have contributed to it.
Okay. Should I assign this to Ali since he's been working on this?
Well, it's really an all of us thing. It's going to be
Yeah.
a long document. It should be listed as in progress, though, is it?
No, it's in blocked. That's why I was saying I don't think it's blocked.
Okay, it's not blocked. It's not blocked. It's in progress.
Okay. So okay. Okay, so the only thing we have blocked is the Knative review, which I'll continue to track on that. Let's skip the backlog for just a minute, and look at so we've got the tweets, that's sort of ongoing. Work in progress, documentation page to go with each of the templates. So I think we've done the governance templates.
Yeah, the governance templates are all there. The only thing sort of missing from that is,
I think
other sort of advisory documents on governance. We need to link to those.
Well, I think actually part of the issue was that we don't have the other ones. So we have the docs that go around all of the governance templates, but what we don't have are for example, we have the template for the contributor ladder, but we don't have the how to. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one that's not
Mm-hmm.
not done yet. And
Yeah.
I don't think we have a how to around, yeah, we don't have a how to around the README either.
Yeah.
So this looks pretty up to date. Do we need a how to around the code of conduct?
We
Because
do
that,
actually, kind of particularly for projects that are planning to join the CNCF,
okay,
because that's an area of a lot of confusion.
okay,
The and for that matter, there's some bad practices that projects often copy from other projects. And so they end up with text that later on needs to be corrected. It would be a very short how to, but I
yeah,
think we should have it.
okay,
So like particularly breaking down in the, hey, do you have your own? And then a longer one would be, do you have your own code of conduct committee? That applies to very few projects, though.
mm-hmm. All right, I've unassigned myself because I had assigned myself
Okay.
to do the governance ones. So
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think I think I'm gonna move this back to backlog.
Hmm.
Okay, governance review template, we just moved that one here. That one we just talked about. We talked about what's the difference on these two? Governance review for cloud events. Add first draft of cloud events review.
Let's close add first
Oh,
draft
sorry,
because
that's a
that's
pull
there.
request.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah,
So
sorry, that's a
how
pull.
did the pull request get dropped in there?
I don't know.
Okay.
All right, I'm just gonna leave it.
Okay.
Governance self-assessment template plus guide. Um, I think that's part of what we need to give feedback on after we do a couple of these. I'm just gonna glance down through the assigned ones and see if there's anything. Okay, that all looks reasonable. Backlog. Is there, I feel like we've got so many things assigned. Let's just glance through this and see if there's anything burning. The election support process doesn't feel like burning to me. Creating a release process, I think that's probably okay.
Yeah, and that's definitely a recruitment one because, like, I wouldn't even necessarily feel competent to write that one even if I had the time.
Yeah, me either. I'm just not close enough to the release process. I feel like we definitely need help with that. Release template, kind of same thing.
Yeah, it's hand in glove with the other.
Yeah.
The
Ladder.
contributor ladder templates is actually together with the documenting the contributor ladder. Contributor ladder examples is that, I mean, that's the problem with the contributor ladder documentation. That's going to be a long document, and it's going to include examples of some simple contributor ladders.
Yeah.
So
Do we need to link those?
probably.
Are they already linked? Let's see. Who was this one? Sorry, what issue was that? 534.
Okay.
Okay. So let's see. Our examples. Template variant for specification projects. That doesn't feel burning. Content tracking. That's just a bunch of stuff that we need to eventually get to.
Mhm.
Leadership selection doc should link to the templates. I feel like the leadership selection doc needs a refresh. I think we've got some stuff in there that we don't really recommend anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that doesn't feel burning. Um, Governance remediation process.
Yeah, and I think that's actually gotten to the point where we could write a suggested document, which
Okay.
is, and this is basically, this is the, if some community member claims that a project is not following their governance or that their governance does not follow TOC requirements, what happens next?
Yeah. Okay.
And my basic suggestion is it goes to the TOC. The TOC decides whether or not it needs investigation. If it does need investigation, then they can request our working group look into it,
Yeah, makes sense.
or they can do it themselves, right? You know, one way or the other.
Yeah. We need our own contributor ladder that's on the backlog log.
Yeah.
Pull
Yep.
request workflow. Okay. None of that looks like it's more important than the stuff that we have already assigned.
Yeah.
Anything else on the board we need to talk about?
Not really.
Okay.
Um, the I mean, well, actually, I'm going to create a new one based on today's conversation, which is we will eventually need a document on steering committees,
Yeah.
including the different things that can be meant by steering committee.
Yeah. No, agreed.
Because that is apparently going to become a structure that multiple projects make use of. So
Okay. Cool. But you said you're going to create that issue.
yep.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think there wasn't anything else on the agenda below that, was there? Let me just go back. Tecton governance review. I'm just gonna make a note that we assigned this to Ollie.
Hmm.
Okay. Is there anything we need to promote for the tag? I feel like we haven't done a lot of work on governance in a while.
No, we've both been really busy.
Yeah.
The um and the um like if we had a help wanted issue prepared, which we don't, then I would say one thing we would want to promote is, hey, we are looking for more people to help with governance reviews.
Mm-hmm.
The but we need to have the issue prepared to direct people to before we tweet to whatever it is that. Otherwise, I don't know that accessibility for the visually impaired thing is not merged yet and probably won't be within a week.
Okay.
The
Well, we can talk about promoting that in the next meeting. Forget which the next one is. I think it's the main tag meeting, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we can talk about that next week.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks. It's good to see you, Cindy.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's good to see you, Josh.
Yep. See you at the next thing,
Yep.
whatever it is.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.